Today I want to talk about an interesting subject, and that is commemorative firearms from Operations Iraqi Freedom and Operations Enduring Freedom. So when I say commemorative firearms, what I'm talking about here is these are firearms that a number of units during the two wars, during the two operations, had essentially commissioned for them. And what it was is a lot of times guys from various different units would get a bunch of guys together, get a big payment going on, and they'd go to these companies. Sig Sauer was one that did a lot of them. Kimber was one. I think Glock did a lot of them as well. But they'd go to these big companies and say, hey, we want something to commemorate our unit, our deployment, or whatever. And the companies would say, sure, we got different packages. I think Kimber has an extremely extensive commemorative deployment handgun program where you go up to them and tell them what you want, and they engrave stuff like your unit insignia, the unit's crest, maybe a motto, maybe this or that, or anything. Really anything you wanted within the parameters of what the company was able to work with. So with that being said, I want to talk specifically about some examples that my battalion had. Just before we get started here, I really want to thank Proxybid and Ventura Munitions. They're a big help to us in getting these sorts of episodes on air and getting the kinds of camera equipment that we need to film this sort of stuff. So specifically for my battalion, when I was in Bravo Company on our second deployment, 2013-14, there was a sergeant by the name of Sergeant Hall who was in our company, and he wanted to get this commemorative pistol program started. So first of all, he elicited a bunch of us, and we had choices. I think we could pick between a 1911 from Kimber, a 226 from Sig, and a Glock, any model from Glock. And we could pick whichever ones we wanted. And the most votes got the 1911 from Kimber. What it was a Kimber Custom II in 45 ACP that would have Bad Company on the right side, and then it would have Depot Chet on the left side, and then it would have our unit emblem on the wooden grips, that of 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. Depot Chet comes from Vietnam, and it was a Vietnamese phrase that kind of got attached to the battalion, and what it essentially means is the walking dead. And that's where we got our name from various battles in Vietnam, in which we suffered one of the highest casualty rates of the Vietnam War as a battalion-sized element within the Marine Corps. So underneath Bad Company, which by the way, Bad Company was our call sign, so you'd have Bad Main, you'd have Bad 1 being Bravo 1st Platoon, you'd have Bad 2 being Bravo 2nd Platoon, and so on and so forth. But underneath Bad Company, we had a place where we could fit however many, I think it was something like 15 to 20 characters or whatever we wanted, and that was what made it a little personal, and it had a little motto, and you could put stuff in there. So on my personal Kimber, first of all, I did a lot to it when I got back to the States. I took out the frame and I replaced it with a Caspian frame and had that blued, and I had VZ grips also with the 1.9 with the 1.9 Reaper on the grip as well, and I had those installed on the 1911. Coming at this in retrospect, I like the fact that we had this commemorative handgun, but if I could go back, I would have liked to have a different company other than Kimber, because as you can see in the video where I'm actually shooting this Kimber for this particular video, for some odd reason, all the worlds collided and the Kimber rear sights just completely flew right off mid-shooting. It was pretty weird. Good on Kimber though, I got with them and they sent me a new rear sight, new slide in the box, so that's good on the company. But there's several other issues that I've had with Kimber, such as the usual argument about MIM parts, about a Series 80 1911, about the Kimber plunger, so on and so forth. If I could have gone back in time, I would have preferred we'd have done it with, say, Springfield Armory or Wilson Combat or just another company other than Kimber, because of a lot of issues that I personally don't like about Kimbers. However, let's look at some of the other personal inscriptions that guys in Bravo Company actually got on the deployment. So to start off with, I want to show you a picture of Sergeant Hall's 1911. He just got his name, Sergeant Hall, Damian Hall. Damian Hall was his full name there. So he just pretty much got his name, pretty cut and dry, not much to it really. Moving on, we have a buddy of mine named Zhao who got this inscription where it says "Go 19 yourself." That particular phrase was sort of a joke within our company, even the whole battalion, in that if it's kind of Marine Corps wide, you ever feel like you're getting screwed over by the man, the unit you're in is screwing over, your battalion commander is an idiot, your company commander is an idiot, whatever. But that particular phrase was floating around, so he actually got it inscribed on his custom 2, where it says "Go 19 yourself." I thought Next up, still in the humor category, we've got one of the guys in my platoon named Devon Williams, who got the phrase "the fuck" with what appears to be a smiley face at the end of it. And we're still in the comedy category here, and you just kind of have to laugh at this because he has "the fuck" on a Custom II 1911, which is pretty funny. Apparently, the story goes, he was in there ordering the pistol with Sergeant Hall, and he didn't think it would be a finalized order, so Sergeant Hall said, "Williams, what do you want on your pistol?" And he says, "Put the fuck" with a smiley face on it. So he did, and then later on, Williams said, "Wait, I thought that wasn't the final order." It's like, well, there you go. Now on to a more serious topic. My section leader, Sergeant Leonard, got this inscription that says "Burn, Burn," and that donates a song that one of our previous section leaders, Sergeant Daniel Vasilian, really liked. It was one of his favorite rock songs, and Vasilian was killed on December 23rd, 2013, on a patrol that my section had gone on. And this was sort of a commemorative piece, less for the whole deployment, and more just to remember, the passing of a very good and very dear friend and very capable infantry marine. Now we go on to my good friend Dean Djenka, who you had the option of getting these pistols in a glass case with Bad Company, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines inscribed in the glass. And he actually ordered them through me while I was still there at the time, and I transferred them to him at an FFL back in the States. And he actually ordered 2 completely different pistols. The first one said Corporal L. Dean Djenka, which is a pretty standard, putting his name down. And then the second one, he actually put down his nickname, Jankster. But it was just kind of fun, just a way to remember his time with Bravo Company while he was with 19, and then another pistol just to put a commemorative piece on it. I think his intention with these was he got the more official name so that he could put it in the display case and keep it up on a wall or something, and then he got the Jankster one, which he could actually take out and shoot and actually have for fun. And unrelated to 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, I just want to show you this model, which is different from what we had. This was from one of my good friends who was an infantryman in 16. Obviously, you can tell on the side it's got the 1st Battalion, 6th Marines Indian head, and it has VI-16, which stands for Victor 16. And this was a battalion order, whereas ours was just a company. I think this was just a battalion. So the number 223 corresponds to the amount of firearms that were ordered within that particular battalion order. I hope you learned a little bit about commemorative handguns in the times of Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and some of the personal inscriptions that guys had put on them. Although these aren't pivotal to small arms history or anything, it's still fascinating and interesting to look at this kind of stuff, because decades from now, this will be a part of history. Unlike, say, a commemorative handgun you buy today that commemorates Vietnam, this was actually made during the periods and in close proximity while guys were actually on deployment in country.